That was like.
Does he say punch it or does he just go boop boop?
I believe he says
Wow.
punch it.
That's an old school reference. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, it's one of those things, John, that it was funny because I was hearing this beeping. It's funny you mentioned that. I heard it over the palatial estate the other day. It's this beeping over and over, and it was transpiring the entire weekend. And Rob, in his infinite genius, said, well, is it long dashes? Is it short? I'm like, actually, it's dashes and shit. It's like, oh, it's Morse code. So Vanna stepped up. No note this time, but it was a repeating message. The message that it took me time, because I'm not someone who is affluent or smart in Morse code. I had to get one of the helpers to help. But they put together, and then they wrote me a note. And the note, I believe it said, try to be the best, because you're only a man, and a man's got to learn to take it. Try to believe through the going gets rough, they get hang tough to make it. History repeats itself. Try and you'll succeed. So again, wait. And then there was more beeping afterwards. Never a doubt that you're the one and you can have your dreams.
Yeah.
For those at home, could please help us decipher what Vanessa has left behind. That'd be most helpful. I'm not sure what's going on.
I thought you were going to be like beep, 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 dash, dash, beep, beep, beep.
Well, I had to translate it, just like Rob the other day when we were talking about House of the Dragon. He asked if I watched it in Valerian, and I'm like, of course, if that would be an option.
High Valerian, right?
High Valerian.
High Valerian.
I was so upset. I'm like, Rob, why'd you say that on the? We're not recording. Yeah.
Is there like a Valerian slang that's used in like the slums?
No. Yeah, you can see even when Danny starts saying Dracarys, it's not as professional as the OG Valerians or from 150 years ago. She lets the R roll a little longer. Nonetheless, welcome to the Heroes World Quarantine Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stu Pei. With me is one of the owners and proprietors of Heroes World. That would be Mr. John Ho.
Good day, folks.
And our correspondent that attended the world-famous Fan Expo. You could have seen him live in person. He was doing things. Our variant of our own nature, Mr. Rob Gannett.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? How are you? Hey, I just want to clarify, just because I know John might be confused. Morse code is not named after character actor David Morse of The Rock and other movies, John. I just wanted you to be...
It's actually named after Morrissey. He's part of a band. Rob, if you could let us fill in what band Morrissey is, and we can go from there.
The Cult. No. Oh, my God.
Oh, it fell in his brain.
What kind of brain part? I was stuck on
He's
David
going to be
Morse.
up all night about this now.
Oh, no.
Take my geek cred away.
Oh, not even that, but wow. Not
man.
just your Greek cred.
You should have made sure to rehearse, Rob, and act out all possible scenarios.
I'm usually very quick on my feet. I should know this. David Morrissey. What?
Of the Morrissey in the Chipettes?
Oh my God.
Anyway,
I have
fun.
to Google it now because now I'm
Google it. That's a fail, folks. You got to Google
wow,
it. That's a
fail.
Yeah. If you're at the shop
of
and you
a
ask
rock
a comic
cover band,
question,
the name is and the Matrix is the agent. What, Rob?
The one?
Agent. What was the agent from the Matrix?
The Andersons, the Smiths. Come on,
Smiths. That's right, the Smiths. Sorry,
trying to help you out here.
Poor Rob. Oh no!
And a win.
Wow. Oh boy.
For those at home playing along, I was at Wonderland yesterday.
Yesterday, man.
As you can see, I've been out in the sun even longer than most.
You've been exposed to the light rays.
Morrissey, professionally known as Morrissey, singer-songwriter,
I
author
can't believe
of the Smiths. Good
right.
God.
Also, his own band called Morrissey.
That is also true. Both are true statements. Morrissey did a lot of things.
This is a guy who used to work in radio. Like, this is really embarrassing.
That's yeah.
Well, all right. Well,
okay. Cool.
How soon is now? But
anyway, so welcome. We are going to talk about a movie that John sent a trailer for a while ago, and he was super hyped.
Oh
He's
yeah,
like, guys,
he was a choo-choo train conductor on that hype train.
we were all minding our own business, and boom, there was a big trailer drop. It's like, guys, Samaritan. I'm like, whoa, on Amazon? What happened? This was originally supposed to drop. MGM made this film, drop in the theaters, and then smartly
this was supposed to go to the theaters.
Yep.
Wow.
This was supposed to be a theatrical release, and they made the smart decision to be like, you know what? Let's make this let's put this on a streaming service. So they decided to pivot and put this out into the streaming stratosphere, directed by Julius Avery. Not many movies that you would know. 2014's Son of a Gun, 2018's Overlord, and 2022's Samaritan. So
I think I remember
Overlord was actually
Borrego or whatever. Or what does it mean?
Overlord's the Nazi,
It's like
Wyatt Russell, like they drop behind enemy lines, American soldiers, and they whoop into this zombie infested.
Yeah,
kind of like it was actually a decent movie. And Son of the Gun also is a decent movie with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Robin from Teen Titans. So I was like, okay, John had me kind of in. I'm like, these two movies
Ian
I liked.
McGregor or Sir Allen Guinness?
In the year of our Lord 2014, John, can you tell us, who was alive out of those two in the year of our Lord 2014?
Maybe he filmed it in the vault. Like, a lot of rappers like film extra, like record extra content. So maybe actors have started to film extra content that they can dice up into all these fancy CGI effects now. We never know. That's coming soon.
Okay, sure. All right, cool. This director was at one point going to direct and write a Flash Gordon remake movie that ended. It was canceled, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'll just do a Stallone movie. Why not?" Stallone, he's a character, and I
don't think it's the director's fault when we get into this.
Yeah. So MGM, who with Balboa Productions, MGM of course does all the Rocky movies, and there we go, and Stallone doing his own stuff. So here we go. Sean was really hyped. It was on Amazon Prime. I said, hey, you know what? Let's talk about films that not everyone talks about. We were on the little our bandwagon train, and now it's become our most popular video on the channel. 26K now. Thank you for all the people that watched our review. But let's talk about Samaritan.
One of the best things I saw this year for sure.
The best thing I've seen this year.
Little thing called Top Gun Maverick, I think.
It's Top Gun Maverick. Yeah, but there wasn't a dance sequence with talking about.
There's no dance sequence, but there's the nostalgia drug. Fuels a lot of Top Gun. So it's gonna help. Yeah,
we can do a recap at the end of the year, but let's talk about this movie because it's a movie that is a comic book, but not really a comic film. I think the pitch, I imagine what it would be, and even IMDb is talking about it. The film was inspired by both Unbreakable and Finding Forrester. I guess if you were in a movie, it's like imagine Samaritan is basically Unbreakable meets Finding Forrester. And I think that was the pitch line. And they're like, you know what? And Sean Connery is back.
Stuff.
Sean Connery plays the titular hero. And that's maybe what they thought. Nonetheless, John, give us your thoughts on this film, Samaritan, starring our boy Sly Stallone.
All right. So my thoughts are it sucked. Do we need any more? Yeah, if this went to theaters, holy, would I have been upset. But yeah, this is just not. It's like an emulation of a bad '90s superhero movie. But just they just.
I would go further down, John.
Yeah,
I would say emulation of bad '90s video game, like one for SNES, like just really
it's
bad.
Not, it's almost this. This should have been. This could have worked maybe in a world as a Black Mirror episode or something like that, or something way shorter, way more put together. When we get into spoiler territory, although I feel like spoiling the movie right now to save you guys all the trouble of watching it. But if you want to watch it, maybe you're a Stallone fan, maybe it'll work for you. But yeah, this does not work at all for me.
Rob?
Rob loved it.
11 out of 11. 11 out of 10.
I mean, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're looking at this scene.
From the trailer? Yeah, from the trailer,
yeah. In 2019, I saw Rambo Last Blood, and I thought, this might be Sly's worst movie I've ever seen. And he's had some stinkers out there, let's face it. Oscar, some of those later ones after the Expendables. But then this piece of shit comes along.
Then in strolls Samaritan.
I have
From
gone
the ashes.
I've gone on record and saying that I don't want to be negative and crap on what, there's, people worked on this. They got paid for it. They, the film industry is hurting at times. And so I don't want to diminish the hard work invested in a lot of this. So I don't want to crap on it. However, I've also gone on record a few weeks ago saying that I was a big fan of the Incredible Hulk television show.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie is essentially just like a redux of the Incredible Hulk TV show with the exact same budget for special effects, because
and you're watching it slow-mo because that's how the
people
story
just
progresses.
Get thrown around. And that's it. It's the exact same. The Incredible Hulk didn't really hurt anybody. He just threw people through walls and over cars. And that's the same shit that happened in this movie. So needless to say, loved it. No, obviously I did not like this movie at all. And I'm very upset that I've spent time watching it.
Here's the thing. Here's
Are
the
you
thing.
gonna come in positive?
Here's the thing.
Very surprised.
Stallone. How old is Stallone at this standpoint? He is in
94.
his. I think he is in.
He looked
his
94 in this movie.
Late. He's 75. I feel like he's like. So he's he's old. He's almost. He's closer to 80. Than like. And I can't imagine my 80-year-old grandfather acting and tossing around.
76. Yeah.
Close.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine thinking about my grandfather acting and trying to do this stuff. It is Stallone. He's still trying to relive some of the action sequences. And let's be fair. Stallone, even in his heyday with all the Rocky movies, Rocky was a boxer. He wasn't high martial arts gun fu like the action stars now. Today, your requirements of entry to be action hero is like taekwondo, is in like kung fu. It's like you got to know hand-to-hand martial arts. And he grew up in an area where all you have to do is lift weights, have a big arm, and then punch people in the face. So
yeah,
it is
build some hurting bombs like he did.
We've talked about this in various podcasts before. Like, let's look at the villain in Commando. Like, he just basically was a fat guy wearing chainmail, and he just had fat arms that, maybe those are big muscles that could stand up to Stallone. That was the reason why he was selected, not because of anything else. Maybe also because he had that really fantastic mustache. But
he was actually a last-minute replacement, so I don't blame that guy. And apparently he wore the wardrobe from the previous person, so it didn't fit properly. So we can't put all the blame on him. But he is.
Yeah, it's one of those things where.
Thanks for defending a movie from the 80s. Continue.
I will. Commando, ride or die.
Yeah, it just needs to not play the same song over and over and over, but that's the fine.
Those were different songs on the oil drums. There's a difference if you listen closely. I have the soundtrack. There's multiple tracks on it. It's not just one track.
Wow,
Commando soundtrack. Track
we
one.
Learned something new about you today. So I feel like at this point you are restricted in that. I think the real hero of this film, the person that probably did the most lifting, was our boy Euron Greyjoy, Pilu Asbak, who plays Cyrus. He is probably the most interesting character in that film because everyone else is kind of just doing their best. We'll go into the plot line, but it's a very, to your point, without spoiling the movie, the characters' names are the most generic. You felt like you just took Google, name me a superhero name. It's like Samaritan. Google, what's a bad guy name? Nemesis. Done. These are my characters' names. Perfect. Don't need to do anything else. So even the city, like Granite City, just felt kind of like what was that old MMO Heroes of New City, or like that superhero video game that was yeah, like it felt like that, where the heroes were kind of like, even the costumes. I'm like, oh, okay, this is
this is the worst cosplay ever.
So
it was just hockey masks, some hockey pads, and black leotard pants. Like that was it.
It's probably the same budget, less than the whatever the reject pile from the DC Vancouver office was. Like, we can't use these ones. It's like Stallone's like, I'll take them. All right, so let's before we go into John, give us your rating of 1 to 10 of this film.
1 to 10. I think I'm going to go out of the box here. I'm a man of extremes, as we've seen. A lot of things get 10 out of 10 because I feel like they deliver. This did not deliver at all. So this gets a 0 out of 10. I can't give it anything. This is disrespectful to the audience. And I really want to talk to someone who this worked for, and maybe they weren't drunk.
But we know somebody, John, because during the Heroes World Sidekick show on Monday, a friend of the show, Sarah.
Hey, we're not going to put anyone on blast here.
No, we are blast here. She said that this was better than Day Shift, and therefore Sarah is.
They could extremely dislike Day Shift, which I'm fine with. Yeah,
so what you're saying is that Sarah was on the production crew? Like, does she have a crew shirt or hat? Like,
yeah, maybe she really likes Stallone. I don't know. Maybe something about it.
Rob, what are you giving this out of 10?
Objectively, I will give it a 4.
Generous.
Very generous. That's very generous. I am giving this one a 3. It is
also generous.
I think I thought there were points of, like, again, Pilu did basically his Danish supervillain thing that he did, and I thought he was fun every time he was on the screen. Like, he was one of the only interesting acting choices. I guess that basically he was him and being Danish, but like, he was just being him, and I thought this is fun. Everyone else was like kind of like
a rejected Fast and the Furious villain.
If John, clearly you haven't watched Game of Thrones. He is an awesome villain. If you watch Game of Thrones, you would hate it. Everyone from Game of Thrones has got a movie. Basically, everyone has basically Fast and Furious. The basically one of them for sure is in.
How about Finn Jones? Did they give Finn Jones a movie?
Iron Fist, bro.
That's not a movie, and that's not a good credit to him.
Yeah, that goes with credit because he was able to snag Iron Fist, because all these lore, like, people from Game of Thrones got a bunch of movies and stuff made because they're like, oh, Game of Thrones, people are popular, maybe something will happen. No, none of them. No one cares about any of them.
No,
that's
wait. Wasn't Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones?
Yeah, but he's Ed Sheeran before Game of Thrones. That didn't really.
But he got a whole bunch of cameos this past year.
Yeah, but were they as good as Megan Thee Stallion? No, not as good as Megan Thee Stallion. So let's.
I don't know. He got to say. I think he said I'm MFing Ed Sheeran during Red Notice or one of the movies.
Yes, that was.
Okay, John's all over the map today.
John, you're talking about the terrible movie Red Notice. Did you love Red Notice, by the way?
No, I did not love.
Bullshit! You did so. Go back, rewind the tape. You liked Red Notice.
No, I did not give it a high rating. I don't think so.
We're gonna have to rewind the tape. We're gonna let us know in the comments if someone can find out, because I believe John gave it a better score.
I was disappointed with Red Notice. It didn't get a 0 out of 10 though, like this nonsense.
All right, let's go to the spoilers. Give me the spoiler tag. Let's do this, and we'll. Somehow, if you're still through and listening with us and joining us in the journey.
Oh, listen to this. Yeah, this will be better than watching the movie.
All you need to do is listen to this and not watch the movie. But let's talk about this. John, give us your gimmick, your top 3.
Oh man, so it was tough. I was debating on rewatching this movie so I could come up with some material, but I didn't want to put myself through that. So I came up with a list of movies I would rather watch than this. With a list of movies that I would watch this over, and they're all from Stallone's catalog. So the 3 in no real particular order. Any Expendables, sure, give me Expendables 13 or whatever number it is you want. I would watch Rocky 4, not Rocky 4, Rocky 5 with Tommy Gunn before I watch this again. And I will watch the ridiculous Escape Plan before I watch this with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I will even watch Stop or My Mom Will Shoot before I watch this movie ever again. And the list of movies I would rather watch this over them is pretty short. I actually struggled with this one. Get Carter makes the list. I don't know if you guys ever saw Get Carter.
Get Carter wasn't bad, man. I think you're.
Is it
It wasn't that bad. Wasn't that bad?
It's pretty bad. And then there was another movie called Bullet to the Head, which had Sung Kang and Jason Momoa, which was utter trash. So I feel like at least this has a little bit more going on than those two movies, and that's it. I couldn't even get a third movie for that list. So that's it. That's all I gotta say. This movie, it doesn't even move until the 1 hour 20-minute mark, where the reluctant hero. You don't make a reluctant hero for 80, not even 80, 90% of your movie, and then you have a final third act or top of your third act where you have all the action. You got to fit something in earlier. He's got to be doing something else, or you've got to have someone else doing some action in between. You can't focus on this kid and him being a reluctant hero for that long. And then with a payoff like that, and then you have your twist. I'll leave the twist for one of you guys to reveal if you want. But it doesn't work. Like I said, it might have worked as a Black Mirror episode or an SNL sketch, maybe.
You obviously have not seen Black Mirror.
So like one of those shows that's like an outer,
maybe a what if Marvel what if episode,
and you got to kind of like, oh yeah, you think this person's the hero, and then twist. There you go. There's the gimmick. See you later. So yeah,
somehow John, Bullet to the Head got a 45% on Rotten Tomatoes. So I would tell you,
maybe I would watch it. So let's strike that from the record. And there's nothing else I would rather watch over this.
Samaritan,
I watch this over.
Samaritan got a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Too high.
But the audience score.
Yeah.
What do you think the audience score is, John? Take a wild guess.
I suspect it's probably getting some type of artificial boost, because I saw a lot of articles being written about this, and the articles were an extreme stretch. So I'm going to say the audience gave it at least 76.
No, I know it. I saw what it was.
It's
in the mid. I think it's 46 or something like that.
Oh
no, audience score is 77.
Wait, what?
There you go. On the money. On the money. I saw an article published that said Samaritan pays tribute to these comic book things, and I was like, "This is a stretch, guys." And they're like, "Oh, he throws something like Captain America." I'm like, "Get out of town."
The Samaritan reviews are very high. It is weird, and on Rotten Tomatoes, audience score is 77 with 500 plus people giving their thoughts.
Yeah, the only thing is, like Stu said, if maybe you like that Sylvester Stallone is still able to do this type of things at his age, which he did look good on screen at certain parts. This outfit they gave him at the beginning with the puffy jacket and the beanie was not a flattering look. Later on, when he kind of loses that outfit,
it's his entire outfit for the whole movie, bro.
So at one point he changes it, and it's kind of like just a button-up shirt, and he's got his hair out and stuff like that, and he looked pretty good. And then that youngified version of him actually looked pretty sweet. I was like, you should just focus on that. Should just done a bunch of that, spent all the money there, made this movie 20 minutes, and then call it a day. But yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yep. Rob, what are your thoughts?
All right, listen, let's run down the plot for those who are not going to see it.
The end.
There are two brothers who grow up and are genetically modified individuals, human beings. They have powers.
Not exploited all during the movie, but go ahead.
One becomes good, and his hero name is a Samaritan. One becomes bad, and his name is Nemesis. And they battled it out 25 years ago upon a burning structure of a building. The building collapsed. Oh, sorry. Nemesis had created a hammer, a sledgehammer, much like steel. And the character, and that was the weapon. Somehow his blood into this hammer would essentially render a Samaritan dead. And during a rooftop battle upon a blazing building, it collapsed. Samaritan, Nemesis, dead forever. However, the police, the local police precinct decided to keep the hammer and their mask.
The gear threw in the shitty storage
for
locker.
25 years in their evidence lockup. Okay. Now you have an old guy played by Stallone named Joey, who may be Samaritan, and the city of Granite City or whatever is crumbling. Upon with people pissed off and inflation and out of work and poverty, and
not really explained why this town is
and this little kid ends up befriending Joe, who is a recluse, and next thing you know, shit goes sideways and Joe has to come out and be the hero. And okay, spoilers, obviously, guys. The twist is, which you will see very early on. Like if you're waiting at the GO train and you're looking down the track and you see the long flint of the light, you're like, oh, we still got 2 minutes until that train pulls up. That's how far in advance you'll see this twist. Joe is actually Nemesis. Samaritan had died. Nemesis decides to just be essentially a recluse, a loner, but he's good at heart. That's the plot of this movie. So Nemesis, Samaritan, whatever, comes back and to save the kid, to put these gangs down and call it a day. You don't need to see this movie. You can watch this review. There was
missing some crucial parts, Rob. You missed some crucial parts.
Not really. There are some moments in this.
The motivation between why the two brothers have separated was a very big reason of this movie. The people of the city were scared of these two little boys, so they burned down their home, and both of the parents were burned alive. So therefore, one was like, "Screw this! All you people are jerks," as John would say, jerks. And he decided that forget all you people, I'm going to start an uprising and I'm going to rage against the machine. Yeah. Meanwhile, Samaritan is like, they're not that bad. We got to help them, became a superhero, and thus becoming a superhero. Right. There is some play back and forth, but again, even the moral of the lesson at the end there, ABC, the more you know moment, was Stallone is like, there's both good and bad in you. You got to decide what you're going to be to the little boy. The boy Sam, as the name is, that almost escaped me. So that was the thing. It's like, hey, that's why he could be both good guy and a bad guy, but the whole thing was set up. So yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing. So yeah.
Right. So that was the motivation. Okay. 25 years later, cities run down to hell. Gangs are on the increase, violence, yada yada yada. Great. There's a couple times in this movie I laughed, like when Joe gets hit by the car and he's all like fucked up in his legs, his arms, everything else, and Sam's like, "Are you okay?" And Stallone's like, "Fuck no." All right, I made me kind of laugh. But honestly, like if you've been, there are no special effects except for the end. There are no special effects. The powers are inconsistent. He's either super strong and can throw people like 30 feet through a wall, or he can only throw them up over like a curb. If he gets injured too much, he ends up going into cardiac arrest. That's really what it is. His weakness is, if I get injured, I start to burn up and I have a fucking heart attack. Like that's it. It's like, okay.
His body heats up. His body literally heats up.
Right, yeah, he starts steaming, and then he's got a fridge full of ice cream and everything else.
One of the jokes, and apparently he's got these on hand in his fridge for no apparent reason, because he's living in hiding, so he probably doesn't need them.
Yeah, I don't know. It made no sense. Just like take an aspirin, you'll be fine. Call a doctor. And so it's like I don't know what the budget is. I tried looking it up before this. I didn't find it. Stu, I don't know if you did or not. I have to imagine it's got to be 30 million, 40 at tops. Like it's not a high budget. This is one of those movies, guys. If we went back in time to say 1995 and another Stallone movie, Judge Dredd, came out and we thought that was shit. This movie makes that one look fantastic. But you would have these direct-to-video movies. And this is what this was. This is a direct-to-video movie. This is like the bad, poor quality. Like I said, I didn't enjoy this. We get to the very end, and when they have the reveal and then it's Nemesis is the one who survived, They do the Marvel de-aging process, but it's really bad. Like it's like they used FaceTime. They used your phone.
They used a filter. They used the TikTok filter.
Yeah,
young Sly. Look it
It
up.
was a really bad iPhone deepfake filter.
It would have worked as a TV show.
Yeah, it was so bad. It was so bad because he kept his beard that John has shown in a couple clips. Kept his beard and his hair. They just they painted it black to make him look younger. And then the deepfake video. Like it's just I can't see that there is ever any promise of this movie being decent to good. I can't find anything in the plot or throughout the course of the movie that people said, oh, like, you know how sometimes you get a movie and it's like, oh, it's one thing, and then next thing you know, the stars, the directors, producers get involved, and they get eaten up. Now you're like with something completely different. I can't see that this ever happening to this movie. I think it just is what it is. I wouldn't be surprised if Stallone did some rewrites, because he does do that. But I don't think his rewrites would have hindered this movie any more than what it was. I just think it was it's a poor excuse of a movie. I think they're just trying to cash in on a genre that is just very popular right now. And they said, hey, if Hancock can make a little bit of cash, maybe we can too.
Hancock was 100% better than this, though.
But I'm just saying, like, you could just see, like, hey, if Chronicle could make some money kind of in this, genre, then maybe we can too. Unfortunately, it's just not worth the time. It's 2 hours too long.
I feel, to your point, I think those who are listening at home, the movie feels very weird because it's straddling a decision between should this movie be rated R and should it not be rated R. The feel, the grit, right, the tone of it, you'd feel like kind of like The Crow, where there should be blood and there should be death and things should happen.
I thought of The Crow when I was watching it too.
And then you're like, oh, okay, there should be, and then but they choose not to go that route. So you're wondering why is something going on? Is it just for like because of movie theaters? And again, it makes you wonder because it was like, oh, they want to make this, not a rated R film, but it does feel very awkward because it doesn't seem to know what it is. Is this a rated R film? Is it not a rated R film? Is there swearing? Is there no swearing? To be frank, a little more swearing would have probably made this movie a lot more interesting.
No, but they focus on the kid for like a good hour 20. Yeah. It's like you're watching the kid in this shitty town, and Stallone walks by every once in a while. So even if you added swearing and the end scene is all blood and violence, which they kind of did a little bit, it doesn't work.
Do you know what it made me think of? The movie Nobody. I felt like they cribbed a lot from Nobody with Bob Odenkirk as well.
But Bob Odenkirk learned how to fight. And if I had to say who would win right now in a fight between Bob Odenkirk and Stallone, it's Bob Odenkirk.
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair right now, though.
No, honestly, though, John, like, I felt bad for Stallone. Like, I don't understand why he did this movie. I don't get it. Like, but
he's a producer. He's the actor.
No, sorry. I know that's the answer. But at the same time, it's like, it's just, he doesn't look good.
Well, here, Rob, if
they focus more on him, it might have worked.
As we do segue, because I think John thought the exact same thing I did. Stallone's done more than 52 films. You've already alluded to many of the films are not very good. So, Stallone's kind of tried outside of Rocky. He has done both good and bad, both comedy, action, done a little everything. But that's the nature of Stallone because he's been around for so long and his name allowed him to get credibility to do a lot of things. Like he's in one of my favorite sports movies. He's in one of my favorite car movies. He's my favorite boxing movie. These are things that are true of Stallone that is, that is crazy to say out loud because those three genres are typically things that don't necessarily come together. So let's jump a little bit to that because Stallone has done some good ones and bad ones. John, you've already talked about your worst Stallone movie, but is this truly the worst Stallone movie, or is there are many other poo-poo on the poo-poo platters? So what do you say?
I think for sure, because it's almost like they tricked you and said it was his movie, And if you stacked up the scenes with the little boy trying to get through this world and him, that I'm pretty sure it's more of the little boy. So no disrespect to him, but I think they just focused on the wrong type of character. So it's like I don't know if you guys ever watched a movie called Empire City or whatever, and it had The Rock on the cover, and he's literally in the movie for like 5 minutes, and it's the other characters in the movie, and you're like, what the F was this? So this is, after talking about it, I would rather try and rewatch
that movie
Bullet to
with
the Head.
Rock something Tales or whatever. It wasn't
Empire. I don't remember. It was a movie that all of a sudden appeared on streaming services, and they had The Rock.
That was a good movie with The Rock in it, though. That was the one with like
he's barely in it, I think.
Yeah, but he's not. I don't think he's billed as like.
It's about some type of bank. No, I think he's on. Well, Netflix does all kinds of trickery, and all of a sudden they put him on the thing. But if I told you that was a Rock movie and you don't see him for almost all the movie except for the ending and maybe the very beginning, you're gonna be pissed, right? But yeah, I would actually rather rewatch Bullet to the Head and hope that it's good, or maybe get Carter dig up my DVD, because I did buy that on DVD for some silly reason. But yeah, I think this is the bottom of the pile, unfortunately.
Rob, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really like, listen, he hasn't. I think he's almost got a pretty even score between good and bad movies, right? Like, I think he's pretty even keeled across the board. For every, stop, my mom will shoot, that's, using genres, and you have a cliffhanger, right? Or for every, Judge Dredd, you end up getting like Copland, or
Copland's good,
right? Like, there's just, he's got such a crazy yin and yang. Unfortunately, we are at a point where we are seeing our action heroes grow up and are still trying to hold on to this vestige that no longer, it has outgrown them. We saw it with Bruce Willis. Now, obviously, it's a bit of a different situation, but we did see it in his later years, trying to cash in still on the Die Hard stuff. And now we know what's going on with him in his last couple of years of movies. We saw it with Arnold post-governor governorship, right?
Governator.
Yeah, but you can write a script that fits their age category now, right? Like Arnold's Maggie or whatever, like those other kind of like different movies. But I don't think this is on Stallone. This is not on Stallone. I think it could have worked if they.
No, but you know what? You can juxtapose it though with Clint Eastwood movies. Now, Clint Eastwood is somewhat of he's in his 90s, I think, and yet he's, you take his Dirty Harry character, and you can have a thread line through a lot of those later movies, even if it was, what was the one but with Hilary Swank, the
$1 Million Baby.
$1 Million. Like, he played to his age and to his character. And I think if you look at how Eastwood's done it against what those three other guys have done it, you can see there's a big difference, right? Like, so is this his worst movie? I have to think overall, yeah, I can't think of anything.
I got the answer for the worst one.
Oh, interesting.
If you say Staying Alive,
nope.
I'm really upset with you.
Nope. This is a vehicle. The tagline. What was the? Oh man, it was such a terrible movie. Let me pull up. I remember the film, seeing it in the trailer, and I'm like, what the heck's this? Let me read you the. I gotta read you the beginning of this, and you'll be able to tell me whether because a woman entices a bomb expert she's involved with into destroying the mafia that killed her family. Starring Sylvester Stallone.
Is it The Specialist?
That's correct.
Yeah.
No, okay. The Specialist at least has a scene worth watching. It's a bad movie overall. Yes.
You're Sharon Stone, right?
Yeah. It's a bad movie, but the bus scene where he f's up a bunch of just thugs on the bus is worth watching that movie alone. It's not really like he doesn't look terrible doing the action stuff at the end. It's just the entire story. You're making your audience sit around for an hour 20 waiting for him to do something. So they put him in a bad position to all of a sudden hope that it pays off during the last.
Yeah, we talked about before where when Rob kind of talked about how when he took off the helmet, I was hoping when his brother picked off, they would CGI a young Armand Asante, and then all of a sudden we have that
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd come on, and we're like, oh, Armand Asante, and he would, and then he would yell, the law,
I'm the law.
the law. Yeah, so that was I was hoping, but yeah, John, your point, it was Empire State. With Emma Roberts, Liam Hemsworth, and Dwayne Johnson. That's
Liam
the movie
Hemsworth,
you're talking about.
yeah.
The movie I'm thinking is Southland Tales, which is an
Southland
awesome
Tales,
Dwayne
completely
Johnson.
different movies, dude.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. Anyways,
that one I
Southland-
heard was good. Yeah,
Michelle Williams Scott and Sarah Michelle Gellar. Yeah, that one's the one where I'm like, oh, that's a good movie. Yeah, I think The Specialist is brutal. Although also Assassins wasn't very good. Although The Gift
is
of
pretty bad too. Yeah.
Yeah, but in that beginning 90s,
Antonio
though, like
Banderas.
90 to 95, he made some bananas movies. But in there was Demolition Man.
And then you had Rhinestone, which is a thing.
Yeah, that was the 80s, though, right? And, you know, his blowout hair. Like, here's the thing. So Stallone is starring in a TV series, Tulsa King, that's coming out this year. And it's by Taylor Sheridan, right? From, like, Yellowstone, 1883, mayor of Kingstown. Like, I'm all hyped for it. But I got to tell you, after seeing this movie and seeing Stallone and just, like, I don't know. I don't want to say
no, because here's the thing.
He's had the right work done, and
put him in the right situation, like Creed, where Ryan Coogler is telling him what to do. And yes, he has some things, but he's not the overall thing. Like, he put in the right spot, he can still execute. So I just think that, you know, it's like same thing with Kevin Costner. Did we think that Kevin Costner would be where he is now after Superman? We're like, Kevin Costner's whatever, like he's done. And now he's back, baby. Kevin Costner's all back doing a bunch of things all over again.
Tin Cup 2 coming soon, right?
Honestly, if you wanted to, you probably could get it done after all the Yellowstone stuff. And then the other thing too, it's the same thing with Michael Keaton. You're like, oh, you thought Michael Keaton, Birdman was no one cared after that. And then all of a sudden he comes back and one Spider-Man movie, and they're like, he's back. Put him as Batman, and everyone's like,
I want Good Cop 2. I want Good Cop 2. Good Cop 2.
You know, it's a thing. So that's
yeah, okay, but hang on.
You know,
like, but then Michael Keaton also did a lot of dramatic movies as well.
Yeah.
Like he did the newspaper one on the with the Boston shirt. Like, and he's done a lot of other. Like, he's branched out a little bit more than what Stallone has, right? He's kind of just stayed.
Stallone tried. Like, again, Stallone's done animated films. He did, like, again, he did two car racing movies, Death Race 2000, Driven.
Yeah, I love Driven.
Death Race is my favorite car movie. One of my favorite. He did a soccer movie in Victory, a sports film. He did Cliffhanger, which is like a stupid movie in that capacity. Yeah. Futuristic movies like Demolition Man. He did his Spy Kids movie. Like, he's done Expendables.
Oh, no, I'm just being like in the later part of Michael Keaton's career. That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, I think, like, to your point, he's done the Tango and Cashes and the comedies and stuff.
I actually remember really liking Tango and Cash, though.
It's not bad. It's not bad. And then the, you know, Stop or Mama Shoot, like, that was a thing where, you know,
he wanted his comedy, right?
Yeah, like R.I.P. Estelle Getty. There was a moment in time.
You know, I was thinking the helmets. So we talk about like the horrible costumes, guys. The helmet for Samaritan was out of a Spartan, and I want to say that's not the helmet, man. That you're showing on the screen is not the helmet that they use. They show it. It looks like a Spartan helmet, and for sure, Stallone changed it. Like, good, call him Spartan. People are gonna think it's a rip off of Demolition Man, right? I'm telling you, yeah, it's a Spartan helmet, man. Like, anyways, just something I noticed.
John Spartan. All right, let's. Needless to say, it had a fun premise. Nope. It was not executed well.
It was not executed well. Yes, 100%.
But, you know, this is what it is. All right, John. Tell us, where can we find you in the internets, in the desert of the real?
Yeah, so if you're not following us on socials, Instagram and Facebook, Heroes World Online are most active. And through those, you'll get links to our website and all kinds of fun stuff going on. We have been trying to update the stories and the reels and all that kind of stuff. So you can kind of see a little bit what's going on in the shop if you haven't been in a while. And if you do want to drop by the shop, you can find us in Markham, Ontario, 8601 Warden Avenue. Those links, things will be in the description. If you're listening to us on the audio, you can see the little thing there if you're on YouTube. iTunes and Spotify. My choice is Spotify. It's an excellent delivery system for your podcast. But I know the Google podcasts are doing well for us as well. So thank you everybody for always sharing and participating. It's been a lot of fun.
Rob, what's going on in the Sidekick Show?
Well, I'm not sure when John's dropping this, but we are recording this as we are getting into the Labor Day weekend. So usually on Mondays, 8:15 p.m., John and I do the Heroes World Psychic Show live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. But this Monday, September the 5th, we're taking it off. We're taking it off for Labor Day. Kids going back to school, got things to get done. So we will not be here Monday. We have 80 episodes, John, of which you can go back through the YouTube video and be able to watch any of our past episodes. But then you can join us on the 12th of September. We are back, and we're going to be talking about John, what are we talking about again?
We're talking about sequelitis.
Sequelitis, that's right. What movies? Because John is a big fan of Top Gun Maverick, if you don't know. And John's like, we're going to talk about movies that are the sequels are better than the originators. So join us on the 12th live, 8:15 p.m. YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. In the meantime, again, whether you want to see the Psychic Show or this podcast, we have lots and lots of episodes to entertain you over this long weekend.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us again. Please support your local businesses, support your people if possible. Go to the store, buy something, big or small. There'll be a nice surprise gift for your kids to go back to school. Here's a book for you to read on the bus or whatever it is.
Here's a comic to put in between the pages of your math textbook and just pretend that you're reading these things.
It's John will be the first to buy the 1,000 issues of Samaritan #1 that's coming out. That is the.
I can't wait for those NECA toys, and he's going to be all over social media.
Man, if merch pops up for this, that's straight up disrespectful. That's gonna be really bad.
Just throw it in the discount bin right away. Yeah. What if it comes pre-priced at discount bin prices?
Oh man, it might as well at this point. They would have had to get it out before it dropped. Like I can't believe this almost went.
You know what? You'll see them at the Dollar Tree or a dollar store. That's where you'll see.
This it worked out way better because if it came in the theater, it would have been really bad. It was originally scheduled just for it. Theatrical November 20th, 2020. Then it was pushed to December 11th, 2020, and then June 4th, 2021. And they're like, you know what? Fine, we'll just release it August 26th, 2022.
Maybe if that calendar went all the way back to 1988.
I want to know how much Amazon paid for this. I guess was it part of their MGM deal? You think
it was part of the MGM deal? They bought MGM, and they're like, "Oh, we got this thing. We don't put this in the theater. We need people to come to Prime." And guess what? It's the #1 movie on Canada Prime. People just can't wait to watch Samaritan, so all of us are watching it.
And next week, number 712. I'm telling you, the biggest drop off in Prime history.
We'll see. Anyways, thank you all for joining us. Be safe out there. Have a good one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing, and buy something from the store if you can. Peace out.
Have a good long weekend.
Thanks, everybody.